Madhava. So if you know along, you can sing along. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Bolo Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Gopi Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Shodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Gopi Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana 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 Shodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabiyari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Manor Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everyone please. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuma Sitaram Lakshman Hanuma Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Jaya Gora Nitai Gora 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 Nitai Gora 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 Nitai Patita Pavana Gora Nitai Patita Pavana Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Hare Krishna Shri Prabhupada ki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please respond. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. One more time, let me hear you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, everybody. Now we're going to have one Bhagavad Gita class. So you're more than welcome to stay where you are, but at the same time, I like to see people's faces because it helps me to want to speak to you. So if you feel comfortable, you can sit sort of in front in this way. And perhaps if anyone's very kind, Prabhuji, by the door, you see there's a little light switch. You see beside the bell. Just open the little cupboard. There's a light switch in there. We need some light in here. Turn on the main ones. Yes. One more. There we go. Much brighter. Okay. So if you're like, sit around there, I can see you. Otherwise, I can't see you. Yeah, please sit. Sorry to make you move. Okay. So now we're going to be reading from a book. Can anyone guess what book we're going to be reading from? Bhagavad Gita, full marks. What's your name? Sharu. Right, okay. You'll be getting lots of full marks today because I'm going to be asking lots of questions. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita. I don't know how many chapters there are in Bhagavad Gita. 18. Today we're reading from chapter 11. I don't know the title of chapter 11. Title of chapter 11. Yes? He's good. What's your name? Jaya Rama. Yes. Do you know the Sanskrit name for chapter 11? Because I'm not sure I do. I did, but I've forgotten. Yeah, Virat Rupa. Yeah, but anyways, it's not important. So we're reading from text 33. Very famous verse. So I don't have it on the screen. So I'll just read it once myself and then we can respond with the word for words, what the words mean. Tasmat Tamottishtaya Solabashva Chitva Shatrum Bhungshva Rajam Samriddham Mayevaite Nihita Purvameva Nimittamatram Bhavasavya Sachin. Yes. So I will say the Sanskrit word, you respond, then I say the English word and you respond like this, okay? Tasmat, therefore, Tvam, you, Uttishta, get up, Yasha, fame, Labhasva, gain, Jitva, conquering, Shatrun, enemies, Bhungshva, enjoy, Rajyam, kingdom, Samridam, flourishing, Maya, by me, Eva, certainly, Iti, all these, Nihita, killed, Purvameva, by previous arrangement, Nimitta matram, just the cause, Bhava, become, Savyasachin, O Savyasachi. Okay, now we have the translation and the purport given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, get up, Prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So can we guess who's speaking here? Krishna. Very simple. Gita is quite easy to work out. Usually it's Krishna speaking, occasionally it's Arjuna. Anyone can perhaps briefly give us a bit of context? Why is Krishna speaking like this just now? So there's doubt in Arjuna. So Arjuna doesn't want to fight. And then, so Arjuna says he doesn't want to fight right at the start. And all this has happened in between. And now Krishna's telling him what to do. So maybe you can, anyone can explain what's Krishna been doing here? Yeah, so very nice. So Krishna has been instructing about understanding, what is the soul, who he is, what's his duties, all these different instructions. But I'm thinking particularly in context of this chapter, what has Krishna just done? Chapter 11. Yes. Yes. So we have some Bhagavad Gita scholars here. It's very nice. So at this point, see, Krishna is very, very expert. He's an expert teacher. So say imagine you want your child to do their homework, okay? Or something like this, and it's difficult to get we can always think of some situation, you want someone to do something for you. That if you're expert, you have different ways of getting that person to do something. So you can present the argument, well, if you do your homework and you study nicely, then you'll get good qualifications. Okay, this is one argument. But at the same time, when I was young, that argument didn't resonate so much with me. So that's like a long-term goal of your ultimate benefit. See? Another way a parent might encourage a child, they could say, well, you do your homework and then you get to play on the Xbox. Short term. So the child can grasp that on a more short-term benefit. Another way a parent might encourage a child, if you don't do your homework, your phone will be banned. Something like this, we can imagine. So this is actually, it's the opposite. Rather than giving a reward, you're giving a punishment for not doing it. But by both having a reward going forward and a punishment pushing you away, then the child or whoever it is, even this is how the government also work. The law enforcement, it's the same. Same principles, something scaring you from not doing something and also tempting you, which is direct. Because if someone says, in 10 years' time, you will get a qualification. As a 10-year-old child, you're thinking, I don't care so much about that. I just want to play, or I want to be with my friends. But if you get a short-term benefit, then you're more inclined. So Krishna knows all these things, actually. All these things, they come from Krishna. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, he gives different impetuses for Arjuna to actually fight. Initially, at the start of the second chapter, he says, you're a Kshatriya, you should fight, it's in your blood, people will make fun of you. Now, it's not such a spiritual knowledge, but still it's encouraging. Then later he gives knowledge of, no, the soul is eternal, the soul can never be cut, it cannot be slain. And this is more of a spiritual, intellectual knowledge. But still you can have the intellectual knowledge. Like, may I ask, can you put your hand up here if you think you are the body? Okay. So can you put your hand up if you think you are the soul? Okay. So we all think we're the soul. But yeah, can you keep your hand up if you act on the platform of the soul? Okay, so to act on the platform of the soul means to have no inclination for material sense gratification whatsoever. So it's actually a very exalted platform. It means not to at all be controlled by lust or anger or greed, any of these things. So although we intellectually know one thing, still it takes a while for us to actually catch up with that knowledge. So like this, Krishna, he gives Arjuna the initial intellectual knowledge, but then he also gives other reasons to fight. So in this 11th chapter, to be honest, Arjuna's already convinced. By the end of the 9th chapter, Arjuna's already convinced, he knows what to do. At the start of the 10th chapter, but Krishna, he's just making sure, because he also knows that many other people will be studying this Gita, not just Arjuna. And so he shows what's called the universal form, Virat Rupa. So, Hare Krishna, please come in. Please take a seat. So it's interesting. There is more people in the world who believe in God than who do not believe in God. But people's understandings of God are very different. So for some people, okay, you come to the temple and God is on the altar. For some people, they don't come to temples. For them, they go out a walk in nature. This is where they encounter God. Some people, they are very interested in artwork and they see God in beautiful works of art. And often people, they get stuck on their own level of realization of who or what is God. But in this 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we get shown how God is actually all-pervading. And He, just as actually, you can see the difference between a living body and a dead body. Okay? I know it's a somewhat uncomfortable topic, but maybe if any of us have seen a dead body in real life, you can see that there's a difference between a living body and a dead body. So actually, Krishna is like this in relation to the material world. The material world is like a dead body. But actually, all around us, we see life, we see growth, we see movement. You know, even, maybe you can see your hair growing or something, but even the mountains are growing. Everything is growing. And if you speed up, of course, we think things like mountains or trees or seasons are so fixed. Like if you imagine when it's summertime, it's a boiling hot day in summer, you cannot imagine snow. But then when it's freezing cold in winter, you cannot imagine summer, because we get very much fixed in our time. But over the course of time, all these things are constantly changing, because Krishna is there. He's a life-giving force which actually manipulates and energizes everything. So to Arjuna, he's showing how actually he is every aspect of this material manifestation. And Arjuna naturally becomes a little bit scared by seeing that. So this is some of the instructions Krishna's giving here. So I just realized I haven't actually properly read the purport yet. So we'll read the short purport Prabhupada has given explaining this verse, and then we'll discuss some more. Oh no, the Gita scholars are leaving. That's okay. Next time you come give class, please. Hare Krishna. So the purport. Savya Sachin refers to one who can shoot arrows very expertly in the field. Thus Arjuna is addressed as an expert warrior capable of delivering arrows to kill his enemies. Just become an instrument, nimitta matram. This word is also very significant. The whole world is moving according to the plan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Foolish persons who do not have sufficient knowledge think that nature is moving without a plan and all manifestations are but accidental formations. There are so many called scientists who suggest that perhaps it was like this or maybe like that. But there's no question of perhaps or maybe. There is a specific plan being carried out in the material world. What is this plan? The cosmic manifestation is a chance for the conditioned souls to go back to Godhead, back to home. As long as they have the domineering mentality which makes them try to lord it over material nature, they are conditioned. But anyone who can understand the plan of the Supreme Lord and cultivate Krishna consciousness is most intelligent. The creation and destruction of the cosmic manifestation are under the superior guidance of God. Thus the battle of Kurukshetra was fought according to the plan of God. Arjuna was refusing to fight, but he was told that he should fight in accordance with the desire of the Supreme Lord. Then he would be happy. If one is in full Krishna consciousness and his life is devoted to the Lord's transcendental service, he is perfect. Om Jnanatamandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Chakshuram Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravari Pacharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatadestarani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Nandi Mukham Karoti Vacharam Pangam Nangare Krim Yat Kripata Maham Bande Shri Guru Dintaranam. So it's very interesting. This verse actually sums up, it perfectly summarizes the Bhagavad Gita. Because ultimately the Bhagavad Gita teaches that Life is basically binary. You have two options. So we are little sparks of consciousness. In the second chapter we learn that we are a little spark of God. We're not God, but we have all the qualities in minute form. And as that little qualitative spark of God, we also have independence. We have free will. We can choose what to do with our lives in minute quantity. So of course you cannot choose to right now jump out the window and fly to the moon. We're limited by the material body. We cannot choose to stay awake for 72 hours. We'll just fall asleep. So we're limited by the body. We're limited by the mind, but we still have minute freedom. You imagine someone comes up to you and starts being abusive. You have freedom of how you react. So this freedom is there. Of course, karma is dictating what's going to happen to us. Certain things will come. Wealth will come, wealth will go. Sickness will come, sickness will go. Like this, things will come, but we do have that freedom to choose how to act. But Bhagavad Gita is teaching us that with that freedom comes a great responsibility. Like I said in Spider-Man, I think. And so, oftentimes we wonder, many people ask this question, so if there's a God, and that God is all-powerful, and that God is good, then why am I here, and why am I suffering? This is a very, very pertinent question. This is a question actually every introspective person should reach. This is actually the question which entails the beginning of our spiritual life. You see, the difference is people who are not spiritually inclined, they just accept. And the worst thing we can do for our spiritual life is just to accept things as they are, to lose that childlike curiosity. Because the nature of the soul is to be curious. Even Krishna is curious. And so what happens is people think, yeah, I'll just accept it. Everyone else also seems to be suffering, so that must be the way it is. Let's go along with it. Let's try and just make a nice time here. But ultimately, at best I'm going to live for another, 50 years? Perhaps I'll live to 80. If the NHS doesn't collapse, we'll get some health benefits along the way. And that everyone else is doing the same, so why don't I go along with it? And this is a mentality which kills our spiritual life. Because the spiritualist, the one who's actually sincerely endeavouring to perfect their life, they have to question, why am I in this situation at all? Hang on a sec, why do I have to grow old and die? And then we understand about reincarnation, and it's I'm just going to go around the situation again, and do the same thing again and again. And we develop such intense and meaningful relationships, deep, deep relationships, but then they get torn apart. It doesn't matter how close your relationship is at a certain point, then certain people, they come and they go. And therefore, if we're actually sincerely introspective, then we can actually understand that this situation isn't ideal. And we start questioning for where we actually belong. So people say, well, there's many different religions in the world, many different spiritual books, and they all seem to be in competition with each other. So they can't all be right. So maybe none of them are right. But actually, if you look closely, we of course had the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is known as the Gita Upanishad. It's sort of the essence of the literature of the Upanishads, or the Vedic texts. But also you look at Bible, Quran, different texts. The basic fundamental principle. The basic fundamental principle is that you do not belong here. This world is not our home. Currently we are here, but it's temporary. And we, as a spirit soul, we are not temporary. And so fundamentally the two cannot mix, like oil and water. If you take something eternal, because you look at your own body, everything we identify with, you stand in front of the mirror and think, this is me. Ultimately realize everything physically in that body will go, will change. Every day some hairs will fall out. Every day some cells will change. And they say after 7 years, this is a scientific fact, after 7 years, every single cell is rejuvenated. So some organs, like I think the liver perhaps every 4 years, the lungs are every 2 years, like this. At different paces, all the organs and all the cells are rejuvenating. But if you take a whole 7-year cycle, everything will be completely new. Because you think about it, you're always taking food, you're getting nutrients from the sun, and things are leaving the body. And so it's a constant rejuvenation. So everything we identify with is temporary. It's like trying to grasp something which isn't even really there. And so spiritual texts, like the Bhagavad Gita, are teaching us to search for that part of ourselves which doesn't change. Amidst all this turmoil, to search for that part which doesn't change. And you come in contact with that, you realize, hang on a sec, what is my fundamental need? Now perhaps I can ask one question, very simple question. Okay, we look at every single living entity in the world. Human beings, donkeys, ants, demigods, presidents and people on the street. Everyone, okay? What is the single driving force? What makes anybody or anything do anything? Not the mind, even deeper than that. Why does the mind even act? Because I'm thinking on a bigger scale. Like, you can see a little ant crawling along the ground, or you can see a prime minister or like a president in a mansion dictating things, or you can see a tiger in a forest pouncing on someone, or you can see a husband going on the train to go to work. Everyone's doing something. So if you boil it down, what is the fundamental drive to do anything? Food? So get deeper than food. Why do you want food? Yes, get out. You want food, but think about, but so say you have food. Say you're rich and you have food. So why do you still do things?
In every perspective, I mean, animals, humans, ants, they are working for something. They are working for food.
You're working for, but imagine you're in a situation you have food. Your fridge is full of food. Does that mean you stop working? You stop doing anything?
No, constantly for my family.
You're still endeavoring. So what is that driving force behind your endeavor?
My future thinking.
So your future self, what do you want for your future self?
For me, for my family, for my kids.
But what do you want? Happiness. Like this. Fundamentally, it boils down to, why do you want food? So I'm alive, so I can be happy, I can have the relationships. You know, why do I go get money? Well, if I have money, I can do things. I can go on a holiday. I can look after people. I can help others. Because fundamentally, our basic most desire is to be happy. That little ant who's crawling along the pavement, wanting to find one grain of sugar, it's the same. Happiness. There's some taste, some mellow. It's called rasa. Everything is operated because of this rasa. There's some exchange. And so when we boil it down, we realize that we actually aren't this material world. We are that spirit soul. I can give you one analogy. Some of you may not get this. Who here has played any video games? Video games? Yes? Most people have played some video. At least you understand the concept of a video game. Okay, the video game is like you have, say it's an Xbox or something, or it could be on your phone. And you go along and you select a character. I used to play Mario Kart. So I used to play like this. So what you do, you select a character, and you can be, I don't know, Yoshi, a little green monster. And you get given a little car, and then on the screen you can see yourself in the car, and then you drive like this. And you, and then someone comes along and you crash and you die and you go, oh! And then you get put back on and you go and you're racing. And you get fully absorbed in this game. Everyone can imagine some situation, whether it's, everyone plays different games. But that's what the material world is like. Is that you as a spirit soul have assumed that particular body. You've got this particular body right now, but it has actually as much connection with you as does you playing a video game. So that's what Bhagavad Gita is teaching, that you're not this body. This body is temporary. But you as a soul, you're looking for happiness. And ultimately that happiness you're looking for, you cannot find it in this material world. Why can you not find it? You can't find it because, as we said earlier, everything here is temporary. So if you find that happiness in food, after a certain while, either you're full or you run out of food. One of the two. Either you keep eating until you don't want to eat anymore, and then that food doesn't give you happiness, or you keep eating and you run out of food. Simple. You find happiness in... Anyone can suggest something. Where do you find happiness? Listening songs, okay. So I'll sit you down and make you listen to the same song for 10 hours. Will you still find happiness in it? But This is different. It's transcendental. But you listen to, I don't know, Top of the Pops for 10 hours, will you still find happiness? For a moment, happiness is there, but happiness goes. Give me something else.
In your inner self. Inner self.
And well, you're too spiritual. I want material answers. You already know the answers. Yes, please, sorry.
There's no such happiness.
Yeah, this is the point we're getting to, actually. You know, whether it is, they say who gets excited when you buy something? Everyone feels it, you know? You go to the shop, there's some sale, you get the clothes, or whatever it is, you get something, some present for Christmas. Or you know something's coming, and that feeling when you get something new. Psychologists say, at best, you can get 6 weeks of happiness. That's even if it's a brand new house or a car. Imagine it's a you know, like Prabhuji, imagine you get a Tesla, you know? A nice Tesla and everything, you're looking around, still 6 weeks of happiness. After that, it again becomes mundane. It's like you're chewing something, you're chewing chewing gum. Okay, and the chewing gum's nice, it's got some flavour. And then after a while, you keep chewing and you realise, there's nothing here anymore. I need something new. So we go through life like this, searching for something new, something new, something new, something new. And eventually we get old, and we can't enjoy anymore. And then we start all over again. So Bhagavad Gita is actually teaching us that fundamentally, we've got to scrap that system. This chewing the chewed, going round in a circle again and again and again. At a certain point, so at the beginning, we talked about those who are spiritualists. The question they have is, why am I suffering? Why am I going through all this? At a certain point, I realized I've just been going through this lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Fair enough, you sort of think, well, I've done my whole life doing this, but not just this lifetime. Millions of lifetimes. Millions upon millions of lifetimes. At a certain point, we go, I'm sick and tired of it. And then we start to go, well, actually, where is that happiness really to be found? And that's where spiritual life begins, that question. Where is happiness really to be found? And as Mataji said, that's when we start to go inwards. But of course, when we go inwards, that's just the very beginning of spiritual life. We go inwards and it expands and it becomes, there's so much more to understand. So when we go inwards, so Arjuna actually, the beginning of the Gita, he represents that going inwards. He represents that moment where we actually turn. And he speaks to Krishna. And he asks Krishna, I don't know what to do. I don't know who I am. I don't want to fight. He's seeing around him, it's like, there's so much suffering here. I kill people. He's saying, like, well, if I kill all these people and I win the war, I'm not going to be happy because then I'm not going to have anybody to enjoy my kingdom with. Imagine that. Imagine you win the lottery, but everyone you know is dead. What are you going to do? You just like go on holiday and then you're just going to sit there not knowing anybody. If you win the lottery, you want to invite all your friends and have a big party. If you get anything new, even a child gets a brand new present, they want to show everybody. Because naturally, you can't enjoy on your own. So Arjuna's like that. He says, if I kill everybody, there's suffering, no happiness. Or else I die and then there's no happiness. So like, I don't want to engage in any of this. He's saying, I've had enough. I want to just run away from everything. And then, Krishna, in this verse, he's actually explaining to him the higher principle. He said, the reason we're suffering in this material world is because we are actually thinking we are the ones who are the enjoyers. Basically, the material world is a place where we can try and pretend to be God. We can try and pretend to be the enjoyer, the one in control. Prabhupada, he gives a lovely analogy. It's like a child is crying for its mother. A child is looking up at the sky and he can see the moon. A little child, like, how old is Prabhuji here? Hare Krishna. He's 1. 1 year, 3 months. Hare Krishna. What's your name? Abi. Abi. Adi. Adi. Adi Anand. So imagine Adi here. He's looking up at the moon. And he's saying, I want the moon. I want the moon. Okay? Now I'm sure the nice parents like what we have here, they'll maybe try and pacify Adi, but he's very adamant. I want the moon. And when a child is screaming like that, sometimes parents, they have to be intelligent. Parents, they get given a special sort of intelligence. Only parents know. So imagine the mother. She'll get a mirror. Okay? And in the mirror, Adi can see the moon. So he's holding on to it. He thinks, well, I've got the moon. So he doesn't have the moon. But the The parents let him think he has a moon so that he enjoy it, he can be quiet. So actually, that's what it's like with God. We're like little children saying, actually, I want to be God. I want to be God. And that's such a ridiculous thing. It's like a child wanting to grab the moon. But what Krishna has done is he's facilitated that by giving us this whole material world. It's like a playpen. You know, you put your children in a little playpen where they can play and it's safe. They're not going to run or hit anything. There's no sharp items. Everything's safe. And they can go and do their thing while you actually go on with the work. And eventually you hope the child will grow up, and then you can actually have a conversation with them. You know, when you reach a certain age, and you can actually be a friend with your parents. You can start talking about, different things. But when you're a child, your parents have to let you do their thing. So like that, Krishna's given us this facility of the material world, but he's waiting for that point where we realize we don't belong here. So right now in this verse, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, become my instrument. Become my instrument. Realize that your existence is actually to serve me. That our happiness, when we're trying to do our own thing, when we're trying to be God, when we're like that child trying to grab the moon, we're never happy in that situation. It doesn't matter what you get or how much opulence or whatever it is. We're never satisfied. But you switch it. There's one switch we talked about earlier. You have two options in life, either for yourself or for God. And when you act for the pleasure of God, then you become supremely happy. Then you realize how actually this whole material world is perfectly designed to bring us back to God. So again, Prabhupada in this purport here, he's making fun of material scientists who say, perhaps it's like this, or perhaps it's like that. Just a quick question, because we're all at different ages. But I want to know, because when I went to school, I got taught the Big Bang Theory as fact. Who else got taught this as fact? Yes, this is common. Yeah, it was just Big Bang and evolution just was given. And so Prabhupada here, he's undercutting that. He's saying, no, actually there's purpose and design and meaning behind this universe. And that our goal of life is to come in tune with that meaning. To become part of something much, much bigger than ourselves. So right now we're independent, trying to do our own little things, but we become part of something much bigger. Then it's beautiful actually that you see. Has anyone ever seen a murmuring? I don't know what a murmuring is. When all the birds go and they fly together. So one bird on its own is like, it's not so impressive, it's just flying. Then you get 1,000 birds all moving in a pattern like this and become something very impressive. So same when we can actually surrender our own free will, our own desire just to do our own thing, and say, no, actually, God, I want to serve you, then we become part of something much, much bigger. Our life becomes incredibly more meaningful, significant. Our actions actually have traction, and we develop love for God like this. So this is sort of the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. It's a very, very nice verse. Prabhupada quote this quite a lot. Namitra matram bhavasavi sachin. Is get up. He says, stop being all, Arjuna at the beginning is all mental. He says, I don't want to fight, I don't want to do this, I shouldn't kill these people, and he's just on the mental platform. Often we can be like this, like, I don't know what to do, should I work, should I get married, should I not get married, and we're thinking all these different things, so much so that we don't really do anything. Krishna's coming along and saying, just get out of it. He's saying, just wake up, realize that you're not this body. This world is like a video game, it's not really your home. But we've got a relationship. Please, can we reawaken that relationship? Can we act on that platform? This is where you'll be happiest. See, some people think, well, what is God doing there, sitting there wanting us to serve him? But actually, Krishna and us, we have a very, very intimate relationship. And by serving Krishna, we're happiest. And also, Krishna also serves his devotees. So there's two ways. Just like, again, you think of a parent, perhaps a father and his son. The son can try and do independent and do what he wants, and no one's actually very happy, but the son understands the desires of the father, and the father also develops more of a relationship with the son. And it's reciprocal, because spiritual life is two-way. They say it takes two to tango. So perhaps, just so far, I wonder if anyone's got any questions or comments so far. Otherwise we can continue for a little bit before Arti. But questions are nice. because then I get to know what you're sort of thinking. Mata, do you have some question?
Okay, one question.
Please.
What happens to a seed before it becomes a tree?
What is a
Because
seed?
we are all like a seed who will become like a tree.
Mm-hmm.
We are all this body who will become like God. That's what we believe in. So when the seed is ripened and the fruit is ripened, it falls off the tree. Then it rots. And then the seed stands on the soil. What happens to it before it becomes a tree?
At a certain point, the soul enters into that seed. Just as within the womb, there's a physical process of reproduction, and at a certain point, then it's only when the jiva, the soul, enters, then does the cells begin to form. So nothing ever manifests. But I'm not sure that's your question.
Now, we first enter a seed. Everybody believes when you become spiritual, everything will be just, perfect and
Hmm.
nice.
And we're going around hugging it, yeah.
And everything, right? But the seed first goes into darkness.
Hmm.
The first sprout first needs to go under the soil, and together with the sun, then it grows up. We don't go through difficulties. We have to go first through all the difficulties. When we go first within and see everything is temporary, that's when we start first going up.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
both they work together. I feel all the sorrows and all the disappointments and all the conflicts and all the wars and all the depressions and all the illnesses and everything, they all happen because we do not go in harmony with the true identity. And it is only when we embrace all of it as one, is that when the beauty comes, that's when real joy comes. That's when the real harmony and the real beauty becomes permanent, not before.
Hmm.
Both work together. So it's only then when Arjuna can understand what he needs to do. It is not about killing your family. It is not about this or that. It is only about realizing this whole thing is a play, and we have to play the game. And this game comes with everything. And when we only accept this everything, and when we play the game, is when we become in everything, and everything becomes in us. That is the only way to become one with one and all. It doesn't happen before. So when you ripen and you fall off the ground, you do not go up first. You go down. And when you look at a tree, the bigger the tree, the bigger the roots go down. If the roots of the tree do not go deep enough, they will not go high enough. If one of the two are not in balance, that tree will not live. It will only keep growing with harmony, with acceptance of both, with equanimity.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. The devotee is very poetic. It was a very poetic analogy you gave. Thank you. Yeah. It's funny, I've been thinking quite a lot about why. So this, for a lot of people, this is their first contact with genuine, real, tangible spirituality, the Bhagavad Gita. Very, very famous, quintessential text. And it's an immense amount of violence is here. You know, if you look at the Mahabharata war, I'm not quite sure how many, but millions of people are killed. It's immensely It's immensely violent. A huge amount of bloodshed. There's always questioning, why did it have to be so violent? Why? It just seems unnecessary. But I think part of what you're saying is about the miseries and the difficulties of this material world. We have to actually see them as God's arrangement. This is a very deep and mature understanding of faith. See, a more simplistic, almost childlike understanding of faith is, well, I believe in God and everything's going to be great. But if you go around life a couple of times, you realize that's not the case. It works out. And so a deeper understanding is how to actually realize is saying everything is my arrangement. Krishna's saying here, all these soldiers are already put to death by my arrangement. And you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So to understand actually how this material world is a place of birth, death, old age, and disease, everything that you have will get taken away from you. Some people are going to get it good, some people are going to get it bad, depending on their particular karma at this particular time. But you can be sure that everyone over time is going to get it taken away from them. And if you can see that bigger picture, then you can actually transcend that entire circle and you become an instrument of God's plan. And you don't become numb to the suffering. You see, even it's described later, after Arjuna gets all these teachings, his son Abhimanyu is on the battlefield and his son dies. And does Arjuna sit there going, well, my son, you are not the body, so I shall not grieve for you. No, he breaks down in tears. And then Krishna comes along, Krishna comforts him. But then they continue. It's not about denying the suffering of the world, but realizing how actually everything is God's plan. And it's for our benefit. And therefore we have to understand as well, by the laws of karma, it's also happening due to the way that we have acted. And you take responsibility for the suffering in your world and you see it as an opportunity for growth. But not that you become hard-hearted. Yeah. And in this way, there has to be feeling when we chant, when we pray. And feeling comes when we're properly desperate. You see, we're very, very comfortable. If we're sitting there thinking, yeah, I know the way things are going. You know, I've got a big mortgage. You know, I've got some savings in the bank. Everything's safe. I've got good health. I'm going to get looked after. If we feel completely on solid ground, sometimes that can actually be a hindrance in our spiritual life. There's one famous verse from the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada would quote quite a lot. It says, when Lord Hari takes special interest, he sees someone really sincere, he gives them special mercy and slowly takes away their comfort and their stability of their situation, because that is often the catalyst which causes us to actually become dependent on the Lord. We know the story of Draupadi. She's being disrobed in this assembly and she's saying, Krishna, help me. Krishna, please help me. At the same time, she's holding onto her sari as these men are trying to pull the sari away. And Krishna's not helping her. Then at a certain point, she lets go. She realizes, I cannot hold on any longer. She puts her hand up and says, Hey Govinda. You can say, Hey Govinda. Please say it like Draupadi would say it. Hey Govinda. And as she says that, then Krishna himself, he manifests as her sari. And it's like one of these magicians. He's like pulling the handkerchiefs from the... It just keeps going. So at a certain point we have to realize, hang on a sec. It doesn't matter how big my bank savings are. It doesn't matter if I've got the best doctor in the world. It doesn't matter if everybody respects me. None of these things will keep us safe. The only thing that we can account on and rely upon is our relationship with God. And our relationship with God comes, of course we understand from the Bhagavad Gita, the best way to develop that relationship is by chanting His names. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, he used to say, there's only two things which are of any substance in this world. So previously we described this world like a video game. It's here, but it's not ultimate reality. But two things which have substance, that is the jiva, you, not the body, but you at the deepest essence of yourself, and the holy name. So that's why it's so much recommended. Every day we should bathe ourselves in transcendental sound. We should connect to God. Krishna consciousness means to be completely absorbed in thoughts of God. Every single moment. And of course you say, well, that sounds nice, but how to actually do that? Well, how to actually do that is by chanting His names. Become absorbed in His names, develop real taste for His names. Because before we can see God, we can hear Him. So yes, I'd recommend everyone, if you have some time, you can get some beads, you can chant, you can join other people, do kirtan, you can chant. You can be in work, you can be typing away and chanting constantly. And this way you'll actually develop that ability to see God everywhere. And you can see how God is actually, Krishna is arranging so many different things in your life. And not the good and the bad things, He's arranging everything. Because the bad things they're also blessings, if we can see them in that way. This is a very exalted level of vision. So thank you kindly for your attention and for allowing me to speak and try and become purified. We'll shortly be having an arti ceremony. So we'll stop the class here unless there's any more questions. Yes, Prabhuji?
How do we overcome our
Anger.
anger,
Yes.
angry?
Again, Bhagavad Gita describes anger comes as a result of not having our desires fulfilled. We have a conception of life. Say for instance, we want something, we want people to act in a certain way. We want people to do these, we want people to respect us. We want something. It doesn't happen, then we become angry. So one very easy thing we can do is actually change our expectations. Look at the situation. Try go to the root cause. Say we become angry. I think one people often become angry at their children. Okay? The child misbehaves, unnecessary. Lots of anger is there. And then we have to actually understand the root cause of that anger. Because anger is not bad. Anger can be used in a good sense. You can be angry at your child because the child is in danger. So don't do that, don't run across the road. And you're trying to protect the child. But if you're angry at the child because of some lacking in yourself, then you have to adjust your expectations. You have to go deep in yourself and work out why actually is it that I'm angry. And often that anger, it's a very simple thing, everyone always says it, but it's a very deep thing, is that anger comes from, ultimately we're not feeling that love ourselves. It's a lack of love. So as we develop a relationship with Krishna, then naturally we develop a relationship with all others as well, because Krishna is never alone. So we go deeper in these relationships and we actually understand more about what is that I am needing. It's like I'm needing something more. I need to be appreciated. Jai. So sorry, not full answer, but we have to stop for Arti. Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki, Shri Prabhupada.
श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की, श्री गौरानिताय की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की बजय जय गौरचंद्र आरती शोभा Jaga चंद्र जी ने